Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're diving into web scraping behind login pages and session management. This is going to be a really comprehensive guide, so stick around because I'm going to cover everything you need to know. Many valuable data sources sit behind login walls. Scraping authenticated content requires understanding how web sessions work, how to maintain login state across requests, and how to handle the security measures that protect logged in areas. Let's start with how web authentication works. When you log into a website, the server creates a session and gives you a session identifier, usually stored as a cookie. Every subsequent request you make includes this cookie, which tells the server you're authenticated. The basic flow is you submit credentials via a login form. The server validates them and creates a session. The server sends back a session cookie. Your browser includes this cookie in every future request, and the server recognizes you as logged in. For scraping behind logins, you need to replicate this flow programmatically. The approach depends on how the site implements authentication. For form-based login, which is the most common type, you send a post request to the login endpoint with your credentials, capture the session cookies from the response, and include those cookies in all subsequent scraping requests. The key details you need are the login URL, which is usually the form's action attribute, the field names for username and password, any hidden fields like CSRF tokens that the form includes, and the cookie names the server sets after login. For token-based authentication, modern web apps often use JWT tokens or API keys instead of session cookies. After login, you receive a token in the response body instead of a cookie. You include this token in an authorization header on subsequent requests. For OAuth-based authentication, some sites use OAuth where you authenticate through a third party like Google or GitHub. This is more complex to automate and typically requires browser automation with tools like Playwright or Selenium. Now let's talk about session management. Best practices for scraping. Use session objects in your HTTP library to automatically persist cookies across requests. Handle session expiry gracefully by detecting when your session has expired, usually through redirect to login or 401 status codes, and automatically re-authenticate. Respect session limits because some sites limit concurrent sessions per account. Running too many parallel scrapers with the same account may trigger security measures. And rotate sessions if possible by using multiple accounts and rotating between them to distribute load. CSRF tokens are a common challenge. Many login forms include a hidden CSRF token that must be submitted with the login request. The workflow is, first fetch the login page to get the CSRF token from the form, then submit the login with both your credentials and the CSRF token. If you skip this step, the login will fail with a 403 error even if your credentials are correct. Handling two-factor authentication adds another layer of complexity. For TOTP codes like Google Authenticator, you can generate these programmatically if you have the secret key. For SMS or email codes, automation becomes much harder and may require manual intervention. Some sites offer app passwords or API tokens specifically for automated access, which bypass two-factor authentication. For JavaScript rendered login pages, some modern sites render their login forms with JavaScript. In this case, simple HTTP requests won't work because the form doesn't exist in the initial HTML. You need a headless browser like Playwright or Selenium to render the page, fill in the form fields, click the login button, and then either continue scraping in the browser or extract the session cookies for use with faster HTTP requests. Some important ethical and legal considerations: only scrape accounts you own or have explicit permission to access. Don't share or store other people's credentials. Respect terms of service regarding automated access. Rate limit your requests to avoid disrupting the service for other users. And be aware that automated access to authenticated areas may violate computer fraud laws in some jurisdictions. Now, for some frequently asked questions. Can I scrape any website that requires login? Technically, you can scrape most authenticated websites, but you should only scrape sites where you have legitimate access. Scraping someone else's account data is both unethical and potentially illegal. Why does my session keep expiring during scraping? Sessions expire for several reasons. The server may have a short session timeout. Your IP may have changed if you're using rotating proxies, and the server ties sessions to IPs. You may be making requests too quickly, triggering rate limits. Or your user agent or other headers may be inconsistent, causing the server to invalidate the session. Should I use a headless browser or HTTP request for authenticated scraping? Use HTTP requests when possible, as they're faster, and use less resources. Use a headless browser when the login process requires JavaScript rendering, when the site uses complex anti-bot measures, or when you need to interact with dynamic elements. How do I handle captchas on login pages? Captcha solving services can handle common captcha types. Some sites only show captchas after failed login attempts, so getting your credentials right the first time helps. Using residential proxies and realistic browser fingerprints can reduce captcha frequency. Alright, that's everything for today on web scraping behind login pages and session management. We covered a lot of ground, and I really hope this gives you the foundation you need to move forward confidently. Don't forget to check out our other guides at dataresearchtools.com for more in-depth content on related topics. Until next time, take care and happy browsing.